It's Friday, 20 March 2020, 2020. We're back with some COVID news. We apologize for being a bit late again, but the news just keep happening. With me is Joe Duddy, Chief Reporter, Business, Finance and Economics for Namibia Media Holdings. Good afternoon, Joe.
Good afternoon, Donnie, and good afternoon to everybody who's watching, and thank you for tuning in.
We've got a lot of news in the program today. We're going to start with Bank of Namibia. We're going to play you again some news from the regions received from our journalist. We're going to talk to our journalist in Mariental, and at the end also a short clip with some tips on how to handle your emotions in terms of psychology, because people are very afraid at the moment. Now, Joe Marie, just to start off, we're quickly playing you an interview Joe Marie did a short while ago this afternoon with the governor of the Bank of Namibia, Mr. Ipumbu Shimi, after the Bank of Namibia also cut our local repo rate with 100 basis points.
Governor, you have described this as extraordinary times. You had a special meeting this morning, an urgent press conference this afternoon. Elaborate on extraordinary times.
Thank you, Joe. We are aware that because of the spreading of coronavirus, the global economy has been negatively affected. This virus has disrupted production. It has disrupted supply chains. As a result, it's projected that the global growth is going to weaken further in 2020, while it was actually initially expected to improve from where we were in 2019. And therefore, we felt that it's important that we monitor economic activities on a regular basis and also take necessary action to support, cushion the impact or the negative impact of coronavirus on the domestic economy. Hence the decision to call for a special meeting to announce the decision of the monetary policy, which is to reduce the repo rate by 1 percentage point, 1 full percentage point, in order to cushion the impact of coronavirus on the economy.
As you've said, it's early days, but how badly is this going to affect Namibia, and why?
Well, it's still early days, as we have indicated. We are following the developments in the domestic economy. We see already some sectors that are feeling the pain, especially our travel and tourism, because people have stopped traveling because Corona immobilizes people. And when people are immobilized, they will no longer be able to visit us, visit our lodges. For instance, people will not be able to go to restaurants. We're already starting to see this impact. But as long as there is no successful containment of Corona, the impact will continue to affect the economy negatively. So, and therefore, all of us as authorities, as industry, we need to work together. We need to be decisive, to take the necessary measures that will cushion the economy from the negative impact of COVID-19. So it's still early days. We will continue to assess the impact on the economy on a regular basis and work together with other authorities to mitigate the impact of this devastating impact of this pandemic.
Governor, it is a significant drop in the interest rate, and it's quite a bit sooner than the scheduled one that was supposed to be in April. How is this going to benefit the consumer and business?
Well, yes, yeah. The decision was taken at a special meeting because, as I said, these are extraordinary times. We could no longer wait for the scheduled meetings because we need to be decisive. We can only mitigate the impact on the economy if we act decisively, or authorities act decisively. The benefit to the consumers and businesses is definitely there, the sense that now the cost of loans have now fallen, and therefore there will be extra money coming into the pockets of consumers and businesses. And we believe that this extra money must be used productively by both households and businesses.
Governor Shimi, very difficult times. What is your message to Namibians?
My message to the Namibian people is that we must remain calm. We must continue to practice good hygiene as we are advised by our authority. We must not lose hope. We shall survive this. We just need to work together and remain united.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Jomri, I think that was to be expected after the South African Reserve Bank obviously did the same thing. It's all about the CMA, common monetary area that we are in.
Of course, Dani, indeed it was expected, but we only expected it on the 14th of April, which was the normal schedule for the monetary policy announcement. Now, I spoke to Governor Shimi, asking him if he can remember if there has been a previous instance where the BON had an urgent monetary policy announcement, and so shortly after the SARB. He can't recall one, I can't recall one, so there certainly hasn't been something like that in recent history. So I think what one should see in this is that the expectation is that the impact of Corona on an already very, very struggling economy is going to be severe.
For the layman out there, Jomri, am I correct to tell the layman that if you have got a house loan you're paying, or you're paying a car or whatever, then your commercial bank that you are using should next week lower what you are paying with basically 1%?
That is indeed correct. The commercial banks will follow suit. One thing that the governor did at his press conference, and he singled it out more than once, is that the commercial banks should not delay at all the implementation of this rate cut. He wants to see this cut implemented as soon as possible. And yes, it of course will make a difference to your home loan, to your car loan, your overdraft, etc., etc. Of course, not everything 1% or 100 basis points, but there will be some relief.
It's all about keeping the economy rolling. Now, yesterday there was some chaos at the Whittaker International Airport outside Windhoek and also at border posts. Remember, if you are watching now and you know of concerns and problems, use the comments to tell us so we can follow up on that. Yolanda Nell, she's with Windhoek Express, was at the airport yesterday afternoon, and she spoke to foreigners in Namibia going back home.
Are you not afraid that the flights from Joburg to London might be cancelled?
Yeah, we are, but we still hope, because we get the confirmations, but we know from the French people that they get the cancelled one.
Okay.
We also get the confirmation.
Yes, sorry for that one. Our producer just played the wrong title. It's the right clip, so we're going to play it to you again. That's from Whittaker, and this was yesterday.
Are you not afraid that the flight...
We're going to try that again, but let's look if our producer can assist quickly at the world map once again. That is the map of the World Health Organization.
Yes.
There a short while ago taken again, and I don't want to focus on the numbers, because the important thing is still in terms of the global population, not a lot. And then our testing data in Namibia has remained the same as well since the announcement by the Ministry of Health and Social Services yesterday afternoon at 5 o'clock here in Windhoek. And the situation then was that they announced that there's a third positive case and 22 still cases, tests that were negative. Yes, back to us. Mr. Producer, can we go back to the airport again, please, and look at the contribution by Yolanda now?
Are you not afraid that the flights from Joburg to London might be cancelled?
Yeah, we are, but we still hope because we get the confirmations, but we know from the French people that they get the cancelled one.
Okay.
We also get the confirmations, and then they came here to the airport, and then it was cancelled. So
Wow.
they got back to the hotel, and now they have to wait until Sunday. Maybe they get something. I don't know.
And for how long have you been in Namibia?
For 1 week, but it was way too short because we had a tour, and in the middle of the tour it was cancelled. And then we got into a hotel. I think we were lucky with that we got the hotel, and we stayed there now for 3 days, and we really hope to get home because Germany also closed the gates.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everything.
Oh, that's shame. I really hope you do get to go home.
When we left, it didn't seem like this chaos.
Airways have officially now cancelled all flights to Namibia, and the couple you just saw there were people, tourists in Namibia traveling back home via South Africa, and they were just wondering how things changed beyond that and if they would be able to easily enter back into their country. We repeat again, if you've experienced problems either at the airports or at the border posts of Namibia, please tell us so that we can follow it up. Because of this whole conundrum with travel, we're quickly going to talk you point for point through travel arrangements. This is from communication as it was sent to flight operators and also as determined by the state of the emergency. Now, first of all, there from 16 March to 15 April, that was the first decision. No flights from Germany, Qatar and Ethiopia allowed. We did report earlier today that there is one flight still going, special flight coming in with KLM, and airports were also ordered to minimize person-to-person contact, also on aeroplanes. Then the next directive by the civil aviation authorities here, still on that same slide, so we're just getting it back up for you. For the period 19 March to 16 April, international and chartered flights may only land at Lucia, Kotaku and Walvis Bay. Approved cargo and emergency flights from Eros in Windhoek, and then health screening mandatory at those airports as well. We're going then to the next set of all these rules. We're trying to inform you point by point. Also for the period 19 March to 16 April, no visas issued on arrival in Namibia at all. A travel ban affected on important foreigners. We are talking about foreigners visiting Namibia. That is from high-risk countries as well as all affected countries, unless you have got some special arrangements. And then important, we're coming to Namibians and permanent residents of Namibia. First of all, they were requested, Germany, not to travel back to Namibia if it's just a visit. If you're just coming, you would have come for a short visit to grandma, for example, or siblings, then the request was rather stay in the country where you are at the moment. Now, very important, and my producer can come back to me because I want people to read my lips. Read our lips, please, and it's very important. Namibians who are returning to the country. So you're a permanent resident or a citizen and you are returning because this is your home. You are free to come back. Obviously they'll screen you and there might be follow-ups, etc. But because you are a resident, they should allow you in. Of course, depending on where in the world you were, let's say, for example, you were not only in South Africa, but in one of the high-risk countries, then that would be determine how you would be handled. Now, important also is that in the state of emergency, the President, Dr. Hage Geingob, actually said that for a 30-day period, flights, foreign flights coming into Namibia will also be suspended. So our deduction, we're still trying to gather information, is that is why, for example, South African Airways stopped their flights to Namibia. So Air Namibia is still flying to South Africa and back, so you can either use them if you are a returning resident, or obviously you can travel via road. Then we're going back just then to that list of rules, and yes, we're trying to get clarity on this, but actually word for word in the directives issued, if you are a Namibian coming back from a high-risk country or all affected countries, so that would include, for example, South Africa, you are supposed to, and we'll show this slide again for you, to self-isolate. It's not actually quarantine, it's self-isolate for 14 days, up to 14 days. And we're trying to just ascertain this, but that goes for you have mild symptoms, so maybe you're getting back, you've got a bit of a flu, but also if you have no symptoms. But we also suppose that it's very difficult for authorities to follow up. There's such a lot of Namibians coming back into the country, but we'd like to know what you think about, because that is actually word for word what the directive is. Then looking at countries then which is in the high-risk group, we're starting there with Europe. Now obviously it's all the Schengen countries as they are called, for which you need a Schengen visa. It's a very long list there. Austria, Belgium, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Monaco, San Marino, and the Vatican City. So those also by the WHO and CDC are termed level 1 countries, and that is just from Europe. And then in the rest of the world, in terms of our state of emergency, the following countries, we are also not allowing visitors from China, obviously where the original identification of COVID-19 was, Iran, Ireland, Japan, Malaysia, South Korea, then the UK, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, as well as the United States of America. Now, what is important also for viewers is that it was clearly stated in the announcement of the state of emergency, Germany, that this can be reviewed at any time. So in other words, countries might be added, etc. So they don't only look at your passport, your citizenship, they also, because you fill in a form about your travel history, they must determine whether you have recently been in a high-risk area. So yes, a mouthful.
Indeed.
We need to use our time effectively. Up next, we're showing you some footage from the regions. And before we do that, just a quick summary. You will see stuff from Walvis Bay, the single quarters here in Windhoek, Okakarara, Utavi, Otjiwarongo, Ondangwa, Utavi. And at the end, in the Utavi clip, you'll see how people are greeting each other now in the time of COVID-19 at a clinic there. Please note also that in there, some of these clips, some of our vernacular languages are used, as well as Afrikaans. Why we do that is because we also want messages to get to the speakers of those mother tongues directly.
Okay, so we're chatting here to Andre Diedrichs. He is the Dunes Mall Center Manager. How are you today, Andre?
I'm very good. Yourself?
I'm good. Andre, just in terms of Dunes Mall, what measures have you guys put in place in terms of COVID-19?
Well, we've obviously upped our cleaning rotations. We've had extra staff for the clinic.
Yes.
For the public awareness, we put up our signs
Yes.
on all the entrances. We've cleaned some of the, especially for the children. Our playground has been repainted, sanitized, even our fountain. We've cleaned the mall entrances. We have also on our social media
Yes.
informed the public what we are doing, what we intend, what we're still rolling out.
Yes.
We are doing this in all of the malls.
Yes.
We are currently waiting on sanitizers that would be put up on the entrances and also inside the mall,
Yes.
where people can wash their hands before they enter the mall.
Yes, yes. And then I know next week it's payday. People are going to come to the mall to come and shop. So is there anything in place at the moment in terms of when people get too much or too many in the mall?
Yeah, obviously we will have extra stuff as mentioned before.
Yes.
And we will have our stations where people can
clean their hands.
But obviously, each one has to look after his own
Exactly.
hygiene. We have put all measures in place, inform the tenants of our directives as well.
Yes.
So from our side, we are ready
To tackle this. Yes. Thank you so much, Andre.
So our business is completely really affected in bad way because people are not coming in big number as well because everybody is just scared of this disease. The market people they are like coming in big number and sitting combined in the same place. Now everybody just aware of it. They want to be next to each other. They are no more coming. So we are totally affected. In bad way.
So what are you guys doing to help protect yourselves against the virus? Has it sunk in or is it still going to take a while?
Yeah, it's going to take a while as well. But anyway, what we do ourselves to prevent it, we just provide this small container of waters and put soap aside. And people when they enter in, at least they must wash themselves before they start applying the foods and so on.
Alright, thank you so much, sir. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Alright.
Hello everyone, my name is Whittaker. I'm working at Gabos Game Ranch. I'm currently the manager here. This lodge belongs to my parents and I'm already in the 4th generation. So the coronavirus is actually, it's a really, really sad thing going around the world right now, and especially tourism in Namibia. As you can see, we were supposed to be fully booked, but everyone cancelled, all the groups cancelled, and I do understand it's because of everyone is afraid. So right now we are not sure what to do, but we lost all our reservations and we're still hoping that this thing is going to be over. Yes, so you see our rooms are empty, everything is empty, and it's also difficult regarding to the staff. We have to reduce the working hours. We have to stop, we have to put everything on hold, the shopping, the groceries, everything we have to put on hold. So we really hope that the corona is going to stop soon so that we can start to get in business.
Okuri ko hamo make okuri shindo ohiro na uri panganda wina vie vitho kuro biko hoke o besimo korora usoku korora awatfa ko ekene okorora o matengo sia spata sia tigre komando ando mayene no kuhango bandu o soku yene no okuskon maka ruveda ru eburi karo to kuro ru ko hoke usoku tido o etunduru enawa mongarombwa uso shua podostora utemba opshina shimo tunuko nderi watunuko nuko keri kohere momake okusha umushithe momoene no okutfaerera okusha mapesa shua wea mostora warando shina usoku koho make kunda wana kusukunda uhaya panganda shua tunuko shimariva usoku shua nokutuna wana usoku koho make omushithe mboshitwe iluno matha falu fauto kuyenda maturi tunu shua modostora kusho usokuri shindavi usokushitavi fadu no matha nu botho kusha matu anga o miti vitu yame tutu vitu vatere ondo miti ete katunavyo katuna kiene na katuna kuri vatere dostora miti no kavenayo okusha vinambia vie shima tu vihepa no matha rikane tuetero vinambio popedu no tiene no kurivatiro omuchisembo kushurura omambo ahe tweidu modoratio okunene kuhepa
coronavirus kadage zero de uti dage hugan an dago aiteo idan de dagin anusin watite dan urikan gasa gui ni taitin de wan an anusin waiti hugan anusip kyan habasa wa coronavirus samsi dage varski
tai precis coronavirus tai rati katun ning a ti aina tani tsana tai aroma tani kaman gas dan omanang a tai khan ngai da grin khuige
an ngasa sigi man uribik mara attack wan anu huga toy ngam ditingin anu wan nang habasin anu se tinia wan ngati sak maron dan anu sene wam industria ta khun wai khoi wai omsi ha
onep ko president hagengo ba mio skola ngeni slated si ne vidisian singeni slated o davis to na strada ni ha of oman ngai ha ne drake ke insesa to di asma
haben ngasa dira mundi kwana van skoli ngisi ga ande kana kwan ke strat na mama si isa skol go tara motiver de singo watin habe so oron nge faram diga goina habe ngasa kwan nge strat na mama
ons het maar van die begin af toe ons gehoor het dit is nou hierso in die land of wat het ons dadelik oralster by elke punt het ons hand sanitizers gesit wat ons personeel kort elke minuut moet spuit voor nuwe kliënte gehelp word. Hier is maskertjies beskikbaar as hulle verkies om dit te sou wou dra. Ja. En ek het gedink van maandag af toe ons die apteek oopmaak, toe was dit net soos 'n hele bang. Mense wat ingestroom het. Almal het hand sanitizers gesoek, vitamiene en alles. En ons was gelukkig om dit in voorraad te kon hê. Sê, ek dink jy almal moet nou paranoid raak daaroor nie. Ek dink mense moet dit eintlik sien as om jou eie lewenstyl te verbeter. Om ook jou kinders te leer om gereeld hande te was. Moenie baie in jou gesig vat nie. Drink jou vitamiene, drink jou immuunboosters elke oggend.
And Namibia is one of the town that has influx of people from the villages on a daily basis that are coming to do shopping. However, like I said earlier on, we have health officers that visit the open market twice or 3 times a day. And then having said that, the people that are selling at the open market are obliged to have buckets of water and any other sanitary facility in place. These are our ambassadors at the open market that they will help to spread the message of coronavirus further. And just beside that, most of the local radios and officials from Ministry of Health has been emphasizing about or creating awareness about the measures that should be in place in order for people to protect themselves from coronavirus. And this has been made in various local languages, and most people from the villages have at least access to information that is given through the radios in absence of TVs and maybe newspapers and social medias.
I'm joined by Joseph Kapuire, that is coming from Uppington now. Can you tell me about the border situation? Do you guys go through screening? What do they do to you when you get to the border?
No, they do screening. They do screening every day. We get tested before we go through the border. Yeah.
Okay, and how has the coronavirus affected the transport of trucks to and from the borders? Or beyond the border, so to say.
Yeah, everyone is afraid, especially the truck drivers. We are afraid, but there's nothing we can do because the economy, some part of the economy is in our hands, so we can't stop driving unless it is now too important. It is important. We can't say it's not important because we are not affected yet, but it is really important. We are affected very much, and our families and everything.
We use that one. It's the hand sanitizer, no?
Yes.
So it's an alcohol wrap, that one. Just after every patient you wrap it in the lids. It will dry itself.
Is that red line?
The patient you stand 1 meter after the counter for contamination. to see where the patient stands. That is open attention. That's it. Can you patient to the left here? Just the right. See, there's the right line, there's the right line. Patient is.
I am joined by Charles and Hilaria at the Keetmanshoop Hospital. So Charles, can you tell us why do you have your mask and your gloves on?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm having gloves and a mask on just to take necessary precautions due to the suspected outbreak of coronavirus. So we are just actually protecting not only ourselves but also trying to give a notice to the public.
We don't have effective tests that are being done at the airport. That's why I'm saying there might be a possibility that we might get some cases around the country because there are no effective tests that they are being done. So
first wash your hands and then you sanitize.
So if I can just sanitize my hands. Okay. So my hands are sanitized. So please, viewers, please wash your hands before you sanitize. Also make sure to avoid touching your mouth and your face with the hands, although you have sanitized. This will ensure that you do not contract whatever suspected virus is which is around us. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. I am joined by Chris here in Woermannsbroek at Mariental. As you can see behind, there is a loads and loads of hand sanitizer so that the customers that enter make sure that their hands are sanitized. Chris, can you tell me what percentage does this hand sanitizer have?
Well, we're supposed to use alcohol levels of at least 70 and above. So we're trying to mix a few products together to get the alcohol level up, adding Dettol and a few hand sanitizers together and some jig to ensure that we have the soap clean enough to clean the germs and everything. Yeah.
All right, and what do you think about the virus? Do you think that it will spread to other towns as there is a case reported, third case reported in Windhoek?
Well, I think it's up to each and every one of us. It's up to the public. It's up to us to limit our touching with each other, to limit our contact with people, but also to ensure our hands remain clean. You know,
I'm joined by Brenda Lee and Jaden. Jaden, what grade are you?
Grade 8.
Grade 8. Where do you school?
Emble.
Emble. And you, Brenda Lee?
Grade 7.
Grade 7. Where do you school?
Mariental Primary School.
Mariental Primary School. Can you tell me why are you guys wandering around the streets? Why aren't you at school?
Because of the coronavirus. The people are talking about the coronavirus.
So because of the coronavirus, your school is on lockdown as well. When will the school open?
On the 15th of April.
15th of April. And Jaden, what do you think about the coronavirus? What impact does it have on your schoolwork?
It is taking us away from the schoolwork. And it doesn't want us to study.
Okay. But what about the coronavirus? Do you think that it will spread to other towns?
Yes.
Why do you say so?
Because the people are coughing around and sneezing and they're even not holding their mouths when we are coughing.
All right. But just know that we are taking precautions, enough safety precautions, not for the virus to spread, okay? I wish you good luck with your schoolwork. So please, you guys are delayed because of coronavirus. So once you go back to school, please make sure that you work hard as you're already losing out on a lot of schoolwork, okay? Thank you. Give me a high five with your elbow. We must not greet with the hands. Thank you. I'm joined by Rudolph and I'm on my way to Kietmans. Just kidding. So I will be asking Rudolph how the coronavirus has impacted the business, because as you can see the car is empty and they are struggling to get some customers. So Rudolph, how has the coronavirus pandemic affected the business?
Good day to everyone. Yeah, to put it out clearly, mostly in the transportation business, we work with people. And you know that it was mentioned by the minister that we should not be as a crowd. So it's what people are afraid of now. People make use of smaller cars and they prefer smaller cars where you're 3-4. And when it comes to buses, we are 12, 10, and that is what they're trying to avoid. So we stand at the same station or the same loading place and we'd be waiting for people, but yet they would get off from you and get in a smaller car, which is a bit faster and also a bit safer for them to use. So us with the minibus and guys with quantums and vehicles have really been affected in a very negative way, but yet here we are.
Any message to your fellow colleagues who is doing the same business?
No, what I would say, guys, keep pushing, don't give up, and the goal that we had to buy more buses, put more on the rank, don't let it die, because this is a temporary thing. We know that we have experts behind this and we believe in them and they know that they can deliver the job we expect them to do.
We are again talking to our journalist in the south, this time around in Mariental via telephone. That is Micheline Navati. Says, good afternoon, Micheline. How are things in Mariental?
Mariental is having a lovely weather over here, as it was raining cats and dogs a few minutes earlier. So we are showered with so much rain.
We hope on a little bit of rain later today in Windhoek as well. Micheline, you were in Kietmans yesterday. Today you are in Mariental. If you can compare the two towns, what is very similar and what do you experience a bit different in terms of reactions on COVID-19?
Alright, so what is similar is that each and every town at the stores have sanitizer accessible to every customer that enters and exits the store. However, what is different that I picked up here is that the citizens are more reliable and taking more responsibility. As I spoke to Pentukeni earlier on in Burmanbroek, so he sanitized his hands, bought himself sanitizer and bought another bottle of sanitizer. So that caught me, and I asked him why is he buying 3 sanitizers if he's the only one using it, and he actually mentioned that he's buying that for the people that cannot afford it. So he buys one extra bottle, and just rotates around the complex and gives it to anyone that he still needs to. Also, I spoke to a few learners here in Mariental. I didn't get a chance to speak to them in Kietmans, and they said that they are very sad, although they'll have a long holiday, but they are sad because Jaden mentioned that he's a grade 8 learner and he was actually, it's a new year for him as he moved on to a high school. But now it's difficult to catch up with the work as it's a new curriculum, and now also because of COVID, he has to be delayed.
Micheline, yes, sorry to interrupt you. We've got limited time. Jomari has got a question for you.
Micheline, how does it look over there? Are there lots of people on the streets, in the shops, or does it seem as if people are taking the self-isolation seriously?
Okay, they're taking it seriously, but compared to Kietmans, the towns more are full, shops are open, most of the shops are open. It's as normal as it is during the day. However, they're taking extra precautions, as most of them have their gloves on, and I said that they're doing the elbow greeting, so that was quite interesting to see. The shops are still in operation from 8 to 7. ShopRite closes at 7, and most of the shops are in operation.
Micheline,
as well.
Micheline, thanks a lot. It was great talking to you, and safe travels on your way back to Windhoek.
Thank you, Danny.
Now, Jomari, yes, this hit me actually on Monday as well when I was driving to work, and I saw, Namibians are not in shutdown like places overseas. We are going to work, a lot of us. We are trying to keep our businesses going because that's essential. Also the small businesses. So we try to follow the guidelines in terms of hygiene, but we're trying to keep the economy going as well.
Yes, the wheels are most certainly still rolling, Donnie, but I think what one has to bear in mind is that tomorrow it will be exactly 1 week since we've had the announcement, and there's only 3 cases at the moment. And like many of the experts say too, these are early days. As we've probably seen in South Africa too, as the cases escalate, hopefully it won't happen here, but when there is an escalation, then the reaction from people become more serious.
Up next, a lot of people experience fear. We don't want to promote that. So we spoke to a psychologist, Dr. Shaun Whittaker, and listen closely for tips how to handle the emotions you are experiencing at the moment.
COVID-19 state of emergency pandemic. These are big words with huge implications. With me is psychologist Shaun Whittaker, based here in Whittaker. Shaun, what feelings does this provoke when you hear words like pandemic and illness and death?
Tremendous fear. If you think about the atmosphere in Windhoek at the moment, and of course not only in Namibia but in the rest of the world, I think we are all in a state of panic. We are all very scared. We've seen all the images on television in China and of course Italy as well at the moment. And I think everyone is extremely anxious. The biggest fear is the fear of death. And I think that is what all of us are grappling with in a very real way. The fact that, this is something new, this is a new virus, and no one can predict how you would be impacted by
the fear of the unknown also.
The fear of the unknown, and clearly, if a country like China and Italy, these countries can struggle with this virus, then surely Namibia,
which are first world, so-called first world countries.
First world countries, very well developed. Even in Italy, this was the richest region in Italy. So we are all extremely scared at this point. I think that is what people are speaking about. And like I said, we have 5 fears as human beings. And the biggest one, obviously, is the fear of death. Our sense of mortality, and I think this virus really challenges us in so many ways, that we all realize, that we are actually very vulnerable as human beings, and it's, as a psychologist, I ask myself, I wonder how people are already anxious, how they are coping with this, or people are already depressed. What do they do with this?
It's adding on to already existing anxiety and fear.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, and I'm so happy that you are doing this interview, because I think the mental health issue very often is forgotten when we have these important events, and it's crucial to speak about mental health. I think this virus also should remind us of the importance of mental health, that people ultimately have emotions that we need to be able to deal with, so that they can also overcome their sense of helplessness and powerlessness about this, and hopefully get going. So there's clearly tremendous panic and fear out there, and we need to be able to help people deal with this. And also the question of self-isolation. I worry about my depressed patients when you speak about self-isolation.
Quarantine, taking people out of the community, out of the support system.
Absolutely, especially the elderly. I think obviously what we know at this point is that the virus is especially lethal to the elderly. And it's so unfair to expect the elderly to isolate themselves without at least speaking about the necessary support networks. We cannot expect the housewife that is usually the woman to take care of everyone in the family. We should also have this discussion and say, but the younger people in the family, the healthy ones, obviously should take some responsibility, help the elderly, help to go to the shop or to do what needs to be done. Clearly, with this virus, the elderly should be protected as much as possible, and that should be our main focus. Secondly, people have diabetes, people have HIV/AIDS, people have tuberculosis. These are obviously people are also at severe risk.
Very vulnerable.
They're already very vulnerable, so they also have to be protected. They have to, as far as possible, stay at home as well. So it's crucial that there's some level of support and solidarity out there. What about your poorer areas where people don't have running water, they don't have access to soap, and so on, or access to healthy food? So I think there's those kinds of areas that we should be speaking about as well. I can imagine that your vulnerable families, people who don't have too many resources in terms of food in the fridge, or that.
Jeremy, yes, I think there was a lot more takeaways from Dr. Whittaker. We're just showing you that for the moment. But people, it's important that you have your support structures and keep people close to you. Make sure they have what they need, especially the elderly. And very important, focus also on good news, on entertainment. Beware of fake news. Don't worry about everything that's doing the rounds. Don't share stuff that has not been verified, and determine your own surroundings, because that will affect the way you feel at the moment.
Indeed, Donnie, and being in a small family or isolating and not going out to malls, etc., maybe it's a great opportunity to reconnect with family again, and it's something we don't often get the time to do. So, yeah, stay positive. I think that is very important.
In spite of also bad news, you saw the interview of a lodge where there's no guests. Our team in the Central North visited Otjiwarongo also, and they went to 4 guest farms in the vicinity, and all of them were closed. So it's also important to support our local tourism industry. Back with the borders, just an update from Oshikati, our journalist there, Ileni Nanjatu. You remember we were speaking about it earlier this week. By Wednesday, still people were moving very freely between Angola and Namibia at the Oshikango border post. It's been reported today that massive open market at Oshikango has been closed for the meantime. So actually, for special travel between Namibia and Angola, you need approval, like is the case with the South African borders as well. But a very important note here, there are people living very close to the border within those communities. Eleni calls them regular visitors, and they also don't have a passport, because that border is running straight through their community, and it's only a 60-kilometer radius, so they are they can still move more freely between the two borders. Jeremy, any final message from you?
Yes, I think tonight's show clearly illustrated the many tentacles of COVID and the many aspects where it touches your life and the country as a whole. And yes, I think it is important for us to pull together, stay positive, use your common sense, and let's get through this.
Thank you very much for watching. Please let us know if you find the show interesting, and any comments you might have. Remember, keep safe, and please don't spread false news and panic.